Hi guys, this is David, and I'm coming to you from the hotel room here in Toronto. You guys had a lot of great questions, and I have some time right now um, that I can pretty much just make this video and talk to you guys. This morning I went out to Kensington Market in Chinatown, went out exploring. It was really cool, it was really fun. Tomorrow we're going to be going to the St. Lawrence Market, and I have a couple of hours right now where Ken is away at a meeting, so I have time to just come to you and, answer some of your questions. So this isn't exactly the best recording setup that I've ever had because I'm literally in a hotel room, but I'm recording on my iPad and kind of reading off my telephone the questions that you guys have asked. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go straight down the list. So let's see. Daev says, well, this isn't really a question. He says, damn, tight shirt, muscle man. Didn't know you were so hot. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but thank you. I don't know, I'm 36. You gotta do what you gotta do. A hobo asked, what's your gym routine? Well, apparently you guys are really into my fitness routine, so let me just go over that real quick. I actually could go into my fitness routine for like an entire video. I could really do an entire video on it. It's always been important to me. I was kind of the fat kid growing up. I got picked on a lot for that. Being gay in a rural area and being overweight, not exactly the best combination. So around, I guess it was the transfer between 8th grade and 9th grade, when you're going from middle school into high school. I thought to myself, I really, really, really do need to make a change. And I kind of wanted to transform myself over summer break, if you know what I mean. So I got up each day in the morning and I went running around my neighborhood. I did push-ups and sit-ups and things like that, body weight exercises. I didn't have access to a gym or weights or anything like that. So I did what I could, and I lost about 20 pounds. And it really improved my confidence, my self-esteem, all of that. So ever since then, I've been, pretty big fan of, trying to stay in shape and fitness and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but as far as my gym routine now, and I've been working out since I was 16, like with weights. So I'm 36 now, so it's been 20 years. So don't, if you've never worked out before, don't go jumping into my routine just because I said so. You really need to work up to it. But as far as what I do is, I do a 4-day rotation. So let's say on Monday I go to the gym, I'll do chest. Then Tuesday I will go and I will do back and shoulders. Wednesday I would go and do biceps and triceps, which is, biceps and then triceps. And then Thursday I would do legs. Each day also doing about a half an hour of cardio or so. And then Friday, the next day in my rotation, I would go back into chest. So it's basically a 4-day rotation. I really don't have any scheduled off days. Like if I'm feeling sick or if I'm particularly busy a certain day or something like that, I won't go. But I don't just schedule an off day or say I'm just not going to go just because. It's not like I just go Monday, Wednesday, Friday and say screw Tuesday, Thursday. I go every day. I think it's important to stay in shape, and to keep up with that. You're only young once, you might as well extend it and be as healthy as you possibly can be. So yeah, that's pretty much my gym routine. If you want more information, let me know. I might do another video just on the gym routine, but yeah. Okay, Michael Lewis, he has a lot of questions here actually, so let's go into that. He asks, what's your first RPG? That was actually Dragon Warrior for the NES. Yeah, I first played it at my uncle's house whenever I was probably 5 years old, and I could barely even read. I mean, 5 years old, you're in kindergarten, what can you possibly read? Let alone with, the old English. So, yeah, it was Dragon Warrior. I really, really enjoyed it. I actually kind of learned to read playing Dragon Warrior. That's how into it I was. I was hooked, absolutely hooked to Dragon Warrior there. And then from then, it really cemented my love for the series. And then I got into Final Fantasy. I was always on the lookout for other RPGs, getting Crystallis. When the SNES came out, whenever I was about 9, 10 years old, I got Final Fantasy 2, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it all started with Dragon Warrior. Who's your RPG husband? That's I don't know. I guess I would have to say Guy from Tales of the Abyss. He's just so cute, and you could dress up him in costumes, and he has that like aversion to women thing. Not that I have an aversion to women, but I just think it's hysterical. And I just kind of want to squeeze him and hug him. He's just adorable. So yeah, Guy's from Tales of the Abyss. My favorite RPG composer. I'm not really one to get into who designs the game, who creates the storyline of the game, who composes the game, that sort of thing. Like, I'm glad that they all do that thing, but I really don't know of any of them. I don't follow them or anything like that. But I will say this: the same person who composed Dragon Warrior 1 is still composing like Dragon Warrior 11. And he does a great job, so I'm going to go with that guy. Whoever the Dragon Warrior composer is, that would be it. 3DS or Vita? 3DS, all the way. Yeah, there's so many good games for the 3DS. For the Vita, I think I have 3 games. I want to say I have Tales of Hearts R, Persona 4, and Ys 4, Memories of Celceta. Yeah, that's it for the Vita. For 3DS, I mean, you have so many. You have the remakes of the Dragon Quest series. You have Tales of the Abyss is on there. There's just so many. That Popo LaCroix game. Yeah. So 3DS all the way. That thing is a powerhouse. Not to mention, Bravely Default. There's just so many good games. So many good games for the 3DS. It's really no contest to me. If I could live in any RPG world, which one and why? I don't really know. I never really thought about that. I would say something pretty, like Secret of Mana. Like, wouldn't that be gorgeous to live in the world of Secret of Mana and have access to those magic spells and, all these really pretty places and go flying in a cannon? Like, it would just be cool with dragons and everything. Yeah, I would say like the Secret of Mana Seiken Densetsu games. Thanks, Michael Lewis, for all those questions. Those are some good questions. Akeem Richardson, congrats, but why do you have that tight-ass shirt on? Why do I have that tight-ass shirt on? It's actually a funny story. Whenever I was creating that Final Fantasy IV review, where I kind of channeled the Men on Film, Men on Books from In Living Color, I went searching for a really, really, really tight shirt because I wanted to look as gay as humanly possible. That was the shtick. That was the humor. People were commenting all the time, why are you so gay? Or are you gay? Or all this and all that. So I was like, whatever. I'll be as gay as humanly possible. Screw you guys. So yeah, I went to the store. I found the light purple shirt, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I went and I did that review, and I got a lot of comments on that as far as the shirt, and they were positive comments. So I'm like, hey, whatever. I'll go back and I'll buy one in every color. So yeah, never looked back. There was my tight-ass shirt. It is what it is. But yeah. Telemetros asks, are you registered to vote, and do you plan to vote this November? I do. This is an extraordinarily important election. I have actually voted in every single election, even the midterm elections. Ever since I turned 18, I've always felt that it was extremely important to vote. My father was in the Army. He kind of drilled it into me to vote. My degree is in social science education, which has a lot to do with civics and government. I'm actually qualified to teach those 2 subjects among others. And yeah, it's always just been very important to me to vote. It is your duty as a citizen to vote, 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 vote. Get on out there and do it. Nathan Gilmore, he says, I want to hear about your husband. Where did you 2 meet, and is he a gamer as well? Well, unfortunately, Ken's not here. He is at a meeting. But where do we meet? We met whenever I was in college. 2003, I guess, I want to say is whenever we met. It was 15 years ago. So yeah, 2003. He was living in Atlanta. I was living in Ackworth. If you've never heard of Ackworth, don't worry, you're in good company. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny town in North Georgia where I grew up. But we actually met online. We met on Match.com. I had been recently out. I had only been out for about 2 months, 2 to 3 months before I met him. And I'd never been to a gay bar before. I had never been really in downtown Atlanta at all, into Midtown, into any kind of gay areas or gay restaurants or gay anything. So I didn't really know how to meet someone like me. And believe me, there was no one like me in Ackworth. Don't worry. Except for, I guess, there was a couple of kids at college, but they were kind of weirdos. I don't want to talk to them. Um, so yeah, he was. I only dated two other people before I dated Ken. So yeah, I've only been with, like, dated two other people. I'm not even gonna say been with because I hadn't been with them biblically, if you know what I mean. It's been Ken. That's it. That's it. Is he a gamer as well? No, he is not. He is not. It was funny whenever I first got a Wii. Um, I went and I downloaded Super Mario Brothers, and I was like, you know what? Just play this game. He couldn't get past the very first level. He went to the first pit, and he fell straight into the pit. And I said, no, you have to run and you have to jump at the same time. So he gets to the pit and he stops, and then he jumps. And then I'm like, no, we have to run and jump at the same time. So then he tries that and he falls into the pit about 20 times before he just like, screw this. He died on the first Goomba. He didn't know how to jump and kill the Goomba. It was pretty ridiculous. So he's not a gamer at all. No, 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 no. He does not do that. He doesn't care about my hobbies. You know, it's just a hobby. It is what it is. As long as you don't do it to excess, it's fine. So yeah. NeoGamer64. Let's see. Okay, he asks, how long were you a teacher for? I'm curious because I actually study education myself. Have you played Persona 5? To me, it's one of the best recent JRPGs. Interesting story. How long I was a teacher for? I taught school. I graduated in 2005. So then I moved to Nevada in 2010. So, okay, so I taught for 5 years in Georgia. I started off teaching high school. I taught American history and world geography. And then I was like, high school is not for me. It was just, whenever you're 23 years old and then you're teaching like 17 years old, it's not exactly the best. So I went down to middle school. I taught 8th grade. I taught Georgia history honors. And then it was still like oh my God. It wasn't for me. And I was actually really thinking about quitting and not really teaching any longer. But then I realized all I have to do is take a test. And if I take a test, then I will be able to go down and teach elementary school. And I did that. And then I started teaching 5th grade, and I never looked back. I loved 5th grade, and I taught 3 years of 5th grade in Georgia until we went to move to Nevada. And whenever Ken got this promotion to move here to Nevada, he said, hey, do you want to, come to Nevada? And I'm like, no, why would I want to move to a desert? We have a nice house here. I have a cute little garden. I don't really want to move to a desert. That doesn't really sound like my idea of fun. I don't really want to leave my family, all that kind of stuff. And then he said, well, if you move, you won't have to work anymore. And I'm like, shit, sign me up. Can you put me on the next plane? But then, I got there, and I got my Nevada teaching license, and I continued teaching for 3 more years until I was like, no, I'm done. So I taught another year of 5th grade in Nevada, and then 2 years of kindergarten, which was actually a lot of fun. At first I was like, oh my God, these kids are going to drive me crazy, but they're so cute. They're so freaking cute. I actually really liked teaching kindergarten. I was exhausted whenever I came home each day, but it was really fun. So yeah, 1 year high school, 1 year middle school, and then 6 years of elementary school. I've never played Persona 5. I've played Persona 3, Fez, and I never played Persona 4 either. I liked Persona 3. It's a bit on the difficult side, but I played some of the other, I guess it would be the Shin Megami Tensei games, and I know that I'm mispronouncing that, and I hear it in the comments all the time, my pronunciations. I'm like the substitute teacher that can't pronounce anybody's names right. It is what it is. My God, give me a damn break. But yeah, I haven't played Persona 5 either. I want to. I actually own the game, but I haven't gotten around to it. I travel so much, and then the Let's Plays, they take a lot of time. Making top 10 lists, that takes a lot of time. It takes like a month to make those top 10 lists. It's pretty ridiculous. So yeah, haven't gotten around to it. But it's on my to-do list. Let's see. Um, let's see. Oh, well, Chasm, he's asking about putting my. Oh, he's asking about putting non-Let's Plays into a playlist. They're already in a playlist, I'm sorry. You just have to search for them. You have to go back. I have so many freaking playlists. Just keep on hitting, like, refresh the playlists, and you'll find them. Ben Videographer asks, do you lift? I do. I do lift. So there you go. There's your answer. Let's see. Whitney Bandel. Oh, he's asking something about my camera angle and how it's like a worm's eye view. Um, the reason for that isn't so much like, okay, well, I will say this: I'm no videographer, and I'm really not even all that great with computers. But it's, when, whenever I come to you on a webcam, I'm normally coming to you on an iPad, and I don't really have a great place to put my iPad in my house. Um, but I think that it's cute to do it in the living room. I think it's a nice little setup that I have going on. But honestly, the way that I did that, where it kind of shows um, all the background, is because I think my mantle's cute. I just wanted to show off my mantle. Like, there's really no other reason why I have that viewpoint. So yeah, I'm sorry that you didn't like my viewpoints, but whatever, it is what it is. Kane611 asks, what is your go-to RPG, the one that you run through every year or so? Does it invoke memories of nostalgia from the first time that you played it? And does it hold up today? I will say that my go-to RPG, there isn't really one besides maybe like Final Fantasy V. I really like RPGs that have a lot of replay value, have like a class system, something like Dragon Warrior 3, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy Tactics, something that you can play over and over and over again, but it's different every time. You know, you can play it using no classes with Final Fantasy V. Let me just use that game as an example. You can play it with no classes. You can play it with just the beginning job classes. You can play it where like each character gets job classes from one crystal. You can limit yourself in so many different ways. Like, that's what I like about it. Every playthrough isn't the same thing. It's not like where it's Final Fantasy IV, where it's the same thing over and over and over again. You know, every playthrough is different, and the story is fun. There's no dungeon that like I hate going through. There's no like awful dungeon, except for maybe Karnak Castle, but that's 5 minutes and you're done. So yeah, Final Fantasy V is a great kind of go-to RPG. Final Fantasy Tactics is a lot of fun as well. And you can do the same thing there. You can play it through using your named characters. You can play it through not using those named characters. You can play it through using like just the characters that you buy at like the little soldier shop. You know, you could do all sorts of different playthroughs with games like that, and that's what I like about those games, like Final Fantasy V, especially Dragon Warrior 3, games like that. You know, I think that those are really, really fun. So yeah, I would say, does it hold up today? Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. Otherwise, I wouldn't play it. Crimson Striker asks, what exactly do you eat? Because I'm still shocked that you've never heard or tried Mabu Tofu. It's one of those signature Chinese dishes that if you just go to a slightly higher end restaurant. Well, here's the deal. I've heard you talk about this dish about 5 times now, so next time I'm in a Chinese restaurant, I'm going to have to try it because you've, you know, mentioned it so many times. But honestly, I cook my own meals about 95% of the time whenever I'm at home. And it's not really for health reasons. I mean, that is a nice added benefit, but it's because I enjoy cooking. I really thoroughly enjoy cooking. It's one of the strange things about me. I enjoy cooking, I enjoy cleaning, I enjoy decorating. Like, I know I'm weird, but I do. I will spend literally hours in the kitchen every single day cooking breakfast, cooking lunch, cooking dinner. And I normally stick to, you know, chicken, beef, turkey, a lot of vegetables. My parents are from New York, so I'm into pasta. A lot of southern dishes. I'm from Georgia after all, so yeah. Those sorts of things. I really don't cook Chinese. I really only get that if I'm going to a restaurant or if I'm sick and I want Chinese takeout, something like that. So yeah. But believe me, next time I go, I'll have to try it because you've mentioned that many times now. Fahrenheit 38 asks, I know I heard it a bunch, but I can't place it. What song is playing in this video? He's talking about the video, the previous video, because there's going to be no song in this video because I'm sitting in a hotel room. I can't exactly splice and add in music and all this kind of stuff here. I don't have access to my computer here. But anyway, it is the, I believe it's called Where Angels Fear to Tread from Seiken Densetsu 3. So yeah. Sega94486 says, I can't tell if you're getting bigger or your shirts are getting smaller. Congrats. Well, my shirts are the same size, so I guess I'm getting bigger, but thank you. Jeffrey Dotson, are there any Western RPGs that you might be interested in playing down the line? I'm a major nerd when it comes to 90s, 2000s isometric classics and can make some recommendations. As far as Western RPGs are concerned, I'm really not that big of a fan of them, to be quite honest with you. A lot of them are too open world for me. I did play the Ultima games back on the NES and the Game Boy. They were okay. They were nothing to write home about, but I prefer the Dragon Warrior games. Whenever I think of a Western RPG, I'm immediately thinking of those first-person dungeon crawling games with the really hard enemies and just, I'm not really a fan of the traps and all that, and trapped chests, and having to have a thief to disarm the chest and unlock the door and blah, 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 blah. And it's just no. I'm not really a fan of Western RPGs, but I will say this. I played Dragon Age Origins, and I loved it. That was a really, really good game. Chris Einger asks, what got you into doing Let's Plays? Do you watch other videos regularly or other Let's Players? And then, how do you record your games? Do you play through the game to do a second run, or do you play it piece by piece and record in between? You seem to travel a lot. Any places that you especially like, or anywhere you really want to visit, baseball or football? So let's start at the beginning. What got me into doing Let's Plays? That was whenever we moved to Nevada. We bought a house that needed a lot of painting and touching up and things like that, and that fell to me. And after about one day of painting, I got sick of my music, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna find something on YouTube, And I ran across H.C. Bailey's Let's Plays, and I pretty much watched all 9 of his Final Fantasy playthroughs, and yeah, I mean, that's really what got me into it. I'd never seen a Let's Play before that time. It was really interesting, and yeah, do I watch other Let's Players now? No, not really. That was really the only time that I ever really watched a Let's Player was whenever I was kind of fixing up the house that we had just purchased. So yeah, and then after I quit teaching 3 years later, I thought to myself, it might be fun to do some Let's Plays myself. So yeah, I know a lot of people say, oh, I hear H.C. Bailey influences in your videos, but I guess that's because, I have it in the back of my mind of that time that I watched him as I was painting through the house. He asks, how you record your games. Do you play it piece by piece or record in between? That really depends on what I'm doing or where I'm going. Like, if I'm going through a dungeon or a new area, then I'll play it all the way through, and I'll fight all the different enemies, get all the different treasures, all that kind of stuff, and I'll write down all the notes about what enemies I fought, what the strengths are, what their weaknesses are, all that kind of stuff, what the treasures are, who I'm going to equip it on, all that kind of good stuff, and then I'll play through and record. If I'm just going to be in town, like if it's a Trails game and I'm just going to be in town, and all I really have to do is, talk to some guy to do a quest and answer the questions, and, the question answers are, answer 1 and then 3 and then 2 or whatever. I'm just going to write down. I have to, go talk to such and such, go to this district, go talk to this person, answer these questions. I'll write that down on a sheet of paper, and I'll go through and I'll play it out, just with the answers, on my paper. I wouldn't do, a pre-playthrough of that, if that makes sense, because you don't really need it. You're just talking to some NPCs, Any places that I especially like or where I really want to visit. I really want to go to Iceland. And I'd love to go back to Venice as well. I'd really like to see Machu Picchu. I'd really like to go to Chile. And I'd like to do sub-Saharan Africa as well. So yeah, those are some places that I'd like to visit. I've been to Venice before, but I'd like to go back. I wasn't there long enough to really appreciate it. Baseball or football? I will say baseball because I used to play baseball. I was on a gay softball league, for a couple of years. That was a lot of fun. I'm still not really good at it, but hey, I did it. It was fun. Let's see. The White Fang 284 asks, did you have a certain goal in mind when you started this channel? How do you feel about PC Western RPGs and have I tried any? What's the most valuable item in my collection? What attracted you to the RPG genre? Which game in your collection do you find yourself going back to? And do you have a mailing address that you can send stuff to? Well, let's start at the beginning. I really didn't have a goal in mind whenever I started this channel. I really didn't. I didn't think anybody was going to watch me, to be quite honest with you. I just figured I'll just put some games up on YouTube. It is what it is. I'll just have fun. That was my goal, was to have fun, and I'm still having fun. So yeah, I feel like I've gotten my goal. PC Western RPGs, and have I tried any? I kind of already talked about that. The most valuable item in my collection, I'm not entirely sure. I still have a lot of PlayStation 1 games, Black Label games. Like, all the RPGs that I ever bought were always Black Label. I never bought, like, the greatest hits version, because I bought them whenever it first came out. Legend of Dragoon, Chrono Cross, all the Final Fantasies, Dragon Warrior 7, some of the rarer, more obscure ones, Eternal Eyes, Guardians Crusade. I wish I had my collection in front of me that I could really look at it, but yeah, all of those worth a pretty penny, I'm sure. The Working Designs ones, like the Arcglad collection, the Lunar collections 1 and 2, I still have all those complete in box. So yeah, I guess that those would be pretty valuable. What attracted me to the RPG genre? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's the genre that I liked. I liked it as a child, and a lot of other people probably said it was boring, but I liked it, and I don't really know what attracted me to it, but I can't put them down. I really like it. What game in my collection do I find myself coming back to? I think I already talked about that too. With any kind of RPG with a class system, I would say, I would keep on coming back to. And as far as a mailing address, if you want to, you can email me, and that's in my About section, I believe. You can email me, and if you really want to mail me something, I can give you my mailing address, but I don't really feel like giving out my mailing address for the entire world to see on a YouTube video. But yeah, if you want to email me, go right ahead, and then we can discuss mailing me stuff. Gay statue. If you were to accidentally look directly at Medusa's eyes, how would you react, pose, and say before you turn into a stone statue? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd be scared. I would cover my face. I don't know. What would I say? I'd say, oh my God, it's Medusa beats me. That's a kind of a funny question there. Indians Fever 11 asks, any idea on where to buy Wild Arms 5 for a decent price? eBay seems like the cheapest. It's like $80. I think I bought it for like $40 whenever it first came out. Still have that complete in box too. I don't know. I mean, keep on scouring eBay. Maybe check out some of your local game shops. I'm not entirely sure. I've heard that people buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace, so you might want to try that, or Craigslist. Personally, I don't buy those games on because I don't really trust that. I would just spend the extra money for the safety of Amazon or eBay personally, but that's just me. Let's see. Oh wow, lots of questions here. Shy Guy 2046. We're just gonna go right down the list of what he's asking me. What games influenced me whenever I was growing up? Not really necessarily favorite games, just what games influenced me. I guess the Mario games. Mario 1, 2, 3, Mario World, Kirby games. I loved the Kirby games. Kirby's Adventure, Kirby Superstar on the SNES. I liked Street Fighter 2. That was a lot of fun. Even like Donkey Kong Country. That was pretty difficult, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Do I use gaming in my teaching? No, whenever I taught school, I never did. I never used gaming in my teaching because I felt like if they want to discuss games, they can discuss that with their friends. They have plenty of friends, they have one teacher. So I needed to be very professional and be that teacher. If they wanted to talk about games or whatever, I would, maybe during recess or something, but I never explicitly went out and said, hey, I'm a gamer, hey, I play this game, hey, I do this, because you're only in class for like 5 hours, and they need to be focused on working and learning, and that's, the proper learning environment. And yeah, I just don't think that it's professional to talk about gaming in a classroom setting. I'm totally getting into teacher mode right now, but they need to focus on reading and writing and history and science, not video games. They got plenty of video games at home. They need to be focused on learning at school. The worst games ever. Eternalize. Yeah, that game's pretty terrible. Um, you know what? I really didn't like Threads of Fate. Something about it. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. There was like some mini game part in there that was just terrible. Solar Jetman for the NES. That one comes to mind. Oh my god, Battletoads. Holy crap, the difficulty level in Battletoads. Oh my god, that's like legendary. Like, why even make a game that's like impossible to complete? The Turtle game, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. Speaking of impossible games, my god. Any upcoming games that I want to get? I don't know. I'd really have to look and see, but I don't really like. I guess the Cold Steel games that are coming out, but I'm not really enthused with a lot of the games that are coming out. I'm really not. There's some cool stuff coming out of the Switch. I don't have a Switch. Maybe I should buy one. But there's some cool stuff coming out for that. My opinion on PSVR or just virtual reality in general, I don't like it. I don't. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. There's my opinion. I think it's dumb. I would rather play classic games, Honestly, I feel like the 16-bit generation, the SNES and all that was the best generation. I say stick with that. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but hey. Do I like horror games, and would I do a walkthrough with a face cam of a horror game? No. I don't even watch horror movies. I'm really... I don't even watch horror movies. I think I watched, The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and Carrie. And Carrie was only, scary at the very end. But, yeah. I can really barely watch those, let alone play a horror game. If it's not an RPG, I'm not playing it. Sorry. I'm just at that point in my life, I'm like a crotchety old man. Let's stick with the one genre, and that's it. Okay. Buttrock asks, what's my recording routine like? Do I record a new episode every day, or do I record a bunch of them and then upload them one after the other? That really depends. If I'm going to be in town for a month, then I'll just record one a day. I'll record on Monday, Tuesday's episode, and then I'll do it like that. But if I'm going to be going out of town, then I have to really ramp it up and record a whole bunch of episodes beforehand to have them scheduled to upload whenever I'm out of town. So, right now I'm in Canada, so I had to upload about 14, because, 7 Azure and 7 Dragon Quest 11 videos before going. So again, it all just depends on my schedule, travel schedule, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's how I do that. Jared Halpane asks, can you recommend a PlayStation 3 RPG for me? Honestly, I had a lot of fun with the Tales games, with I think it was Tales of Graces F. That was a lot of fun. And honestly, as far as the Final Fantasy games on PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy 13-2, I really, really, really liked it. Trinity Souls of Zillow, that was a cool game. I like that as well. Again, I wish that I could have my PlayStation collection right here with me to really look at, but I don't. I'm in a hotel room in Toronto, so what do you want from me? How much do I bench? 235 pounds. There you go. 235 pounds. That's how much I bench. Okay, let's see. John Ardencare says, video description says keep the questions PG. I guess there were some thirsty questions. I guess so. Honestly, everybody did a really good job keeping it PG, so congratulations on that. Okay. Ray J. Pop asks, what does your family and friends think of you making YouTube videos? Honestly, I don't really tell a lot of people. Ken knows. I told my brothers. Some of my friends. Yeah. I would say I told, my best friends. I have this really close knit group of friends, and I told them, and they just kind of make fun of me about it. But that's it. My brothers think it's kind of cool, especially my younger brother. He's really into games, so he thinks it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, what Wild Arms game is my favorite? Wild Arms 4 introduced the hex battle system, and it doesn't wear out its welcome. That's important to me. Having a short, concise game that doesn't wear out its welcome, I liked it. Have any of my students found my channel? I would say no, at least not that I'm aware of. So I'm going to go with that. Not that I'm aware of. Carson J13, do you do push-ups with your pecs? No. No, my pecs can't do push-ups, but thanks. What brings me to New York and Canada? I had to go to New York to visit my grandparents. My grandfather's 87 years old, and he has cancer, and he's on a walker, and he's kind of in poor health. So I visited him this summer as well around Father's Day, and I wanted to just come up again just to, to check on him, make sure everything's all well. And then Ken had a business trip here in Canada anyway, so I figured, hey, I'll tag along. I've only been to Western Canada. I've never been to Eastern Canada, so that's why I wanted to come. Let's see. Oh, no, go away. Go away. Okay. Into the Abyss We Go asks, let's see. Do you have any advice for a teacher thinking of quitting? Did you have any other jobs other than teaching? Okay, I'm not going to give you that whole spiel about we need great teachers, stay in the profession, do it for the kids. I'm going to say, do what makes you happy. Life is short. If you want to quit, quit. If you want to stay, stay. But do brush up on your classroom management. If you're thinking about quitting, it's probably because of a lack of classroom management. And Dr. Harry Wong has a really good book on classroom management called The First Days of School. If you haven't read that book, read it. That'll help a lot. Gives you a lot of ideas with nonverbal cues. Also, and for non-teachers out there, close your ears, but this is true. Be a fucking dick on the first day of school. Set the standard on the first day of school and be a bitch. Be a frickin' bitch on the first day of school. Don't be nice and fluffy and do all these little bullshit activities. Be a bitch. And you know what? That's going to set the standard, and those kids are going to know that you mean business, and they're not going to pull anything on you. And then you know what? After just about a month, just like pretty much August and September of being a total bitch, you can be as nice as you want to. You could be like the best teacher ever. So then when everybody else who is nice during the first week of school, the first day of school, is now having awful classroom management problems, you're not. You're going to have 8 months left of being able to do great stuff because your kids aren't going to be pulling anything on you because you were a bitch the first day of school. So yeah, the rest of you guys can open up your ears now, but it's the God's honest truth. God's honest truth. Did I have any other jobs other than teaching? Oh man, did I have any other jobs. I worked at Publix for 4.5 years as a cashier. I worked at Kroger as a stock boy. I worked at Barnes & Noble. I worked at Trader Joe's. I worked at SunTrust Bank. I worked at Pier 1 Imports. I worked at Palm Beach Tan. I worked at the track office, which was something in college. It was like a student assistant thing in college. I had a lot of different jobs, but yeah. Admit it, you like playing hide and go seek with NPCs in games, don't you? It's all an act. No, screw them. They can all go hide in a vat of acid for all I care. I hate them. Oh, I'm gonna mispronounce this. Senpai's home? Who do you take inspiration from in the LP community? I guess that would be HPC Bailey. That's the only one that I ever watched. Frank Knox asks, are you vegetarian? What's your favorite food? And share a simple recipe. I am not vegetarian. I'm far from vegetarian. I like to eat my meat. Favorite food? I don't know. Anything really with chicken or turkey? You know what? There's these Persian places. They serve like Afghani food or Iranian food. It's like kebab places. They're really good. They're really, really, really good. I like those food. If I was at home, I would share a recipe, but unfortunately I'm not, so I can't do that right now. Food Reviews says, hope to see that beauty without a shirt on. Well, hate to disappoint. I'm keeping my shirt on. It is what it is. So yeah, that's everybody's questions. So hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hope I answered everybody's questions as well. And yeah, I'm going to continue enjoying my vacation. Looks like the rain has cleared up and Ken should be back any minute now. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a great one.